Alright guys, we are here. We are actually here. Playing a little bit of Shackled City. Episode 179. Feels like... Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of anything. I mean, except for like Rice Krispies or Fruity Pebbles, which is still also Rice Krispies. So, we'll give you guys a chance here to recap our events.
And we will do that. But first, the Shackled crew and the audience, get your chains and get your locks and get shackled in for tonight's Shackled recap.
I want to die.
Oh, man. And don't mind. Tonight, Red is actually broadcasting from a Hollister.
Surprisingly, it's really empty because of the quarantine.
You know, I was not expecting that, actually. I kind of anticipated as much.
Believe it or not, it's not essential.
And yes, Noct, welcome to the Xander Zone.
Okay.
This is also not accurate.
2020 will be a massacre.
Yeah.
Mark my words.
It should always be really empty because horrible clothing. Boom. That's the take.
Exactly. Yep. I mean, no one's going to be there in a pandemic either way.
What happened to Waffle House?
How many clothes there are that haven't been looted?
I think he's been changing it every episode. I believe last episode was like a lab. I think it was a lab.
Yeah.
That was Pollo Tropical.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least from what I can recall. But that's okay. So how are you coming on your dream one-shot game so far?
For the most part, done. I think I already talked to Bub about it yesterday. It's essentially just the sounds. And like the first part of it will be complete.
Yeah. He's making moves. Doing big things. But we'll see. We'll see whatever happens.
Yep. But well, go ahead and take it away, bro.
Yeah. Well,
I'd rather not.
what you got there, Will?
Nothing really.
Nothing? Yeah.
Nothing happened, and then we were alive again.
Nothing. Okay. All right. Well, nothing happened. Then you were alive. I mean, that's at least the perception from Rahk.
Yeah, he's just giving you Rahk's perspective. Suddenly, everything's fine.
That does raise an interesting question. Did we lose the time that we were stone, or were we like consciously trapped in a body that can't move?
It was like a swift blink.
Makes sense.
But you would wake
from
up.
Rahk's perspective, we woke up.
Yeah. You were fighting, and then suddenly Ulhime was back, and everything was dried blood.
Yep.
But I'm not expecting the entire story, but anything. Literally anything.
Neth and fucking Navthatorin bantered a little bit.
They did in fact. Had some conversation.
Ronald needed three people, so the only person he could go to was Professor Nabikins.
Let's not forget, he also birthed himself out of his shield.
Yes.
I think naked as the day he was born, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And wrapped himself in the mayor's drapery.
Yeah.
Then left a note on his dresser.
Clothe himself. Yeah, left a note and like $50.
And then was like,
thanks for a good time. Put some lipstick on the mirror.
Yep. Sorry,
called himself an Uber and got
Mayor,
out of it.
Was a good time. I put my balls on your drum set. I hope that's okay.
So he went to the chapel, was like, oh no, all my friends are stoned. What am I gonna do? And then
hit follow up to all my friends are dead.
And then he went and found Mr. Nabikins. And Nabikins decided to make a deal
he
with
completely lost his PhD this go round. Excuse me, you definitely called him like the doctor or professor, so at least
he has many names. It goes all around.
He is many named. Okay.
Yeah, he's had a lot of time to get a lot of degrees.
Sure, that makes sense.
Believe it or not, education and culture, not so hard for the demons to get.
Those are degrees Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah,
or
mostly.
like Celsius if you're weird.
Yeah. If you're weird. Sorry to all my European watchers.
Fuck you, rest of the world. It's not just European. It's everywhere but here.
Yeah.
Everyone but us. Look, we use freedom units. That's it.
I prefer to measure my temperatures in Kelvin, actually.
It always fucks me up when they're like, man, it's 32 degrees. I'm like, that's a little nipply, don't you think? They're like, bro, I'm melting. Like, no.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, you're not. It's 32 here. Like, you've got mad THO all the time. There's not much you can do about it.
32 has never happened where I live. That doesn't exist.
That sounds like bullshit.
32? It doesn't drop that low. It doesn't drop below fucking like 50.
I thought it was funny watching Bub sweat when it was like 60 degrees here, and I'm like, bro, it's cold. He's like, what are you fucking talking about? It's hot
It does, like, it normally drops to like 70 on a night.
Let's find out.
Like 46 this morning.
I wish.
The coldest weather temperature ever officially recorded in Boca Raton was 1995, February 9th. It hit 21 degrees.
Oh shit. Hell yeah.
21.
Yeah.
Well, somewhere in Florida, it got to negative.
It got cold enough to snow at one point.
It snows here very rarely, but it does happen.
Yeah. Demons work exclusively in Kelvin.
Yeah. Either way, Ronald had to make a deal with Nabaditiki.
Jesus Christ! Holy!
I was caught between names.
Listen,
I was waiting for him to start shaking violently, and I was like, what do we do?
Sniper, close the bag. Close the fucking bag. You're letting the chromosomes slip out, man.
Okay, so Nabs the Torrent and decided to make a deal.
Why did you get a K in there? Nabs
Look, gotta roll.
The really
I was gonna break into the Danny Phantom theme.
The really important question here is whether or not he can smell toast.
I was gonna call him Nabbykin, and then
He's a demon.
and it all just kind of like merged into one. Either way, he had to make a deal with Nab the Torrent that required
Nebuchadnezzar, right?
Nebuchadnezzar. He had to get his juicy little pearls to get a wish. But Ronald had to make a deal with him that basically included what was it? You got Occipitous, you got the wish, you got a necklace, and in return,
I mean, he had to get his bling, right? Like, in that when you're dealing with the Jay-Z of demons, you got to get your bling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of that, you gave up your arm. Was it right?
I gave up the essence of the worm that walks arm. In this case, my right arm.
Yeah. So you ain't got no more arm on that side.
He also gave one more thing.
It's kind of I have to do a favor for him whenever he calls it in, and I can't refuse it.
You can't refuse it. Yeah.
Rami said this still somehow ends up being snipers.
I just want to highlight that for a moment. I don't know when and if that's ever going to come out.
How shitty would it be like we get caught into like some like crazy it's not even like a crazy situation. I'm just like riding in like the guild hall, and then fucking Nab the Torrent's like looking for something. He's like, Ulhime, can you do me a favor and grab me that pen real quick? I just like had him like, it is done. Just walk away.
The deed has been fulfilled.
He's all, what are you talking about? Mephistopheles comes out. He's like, yeah, you said right here. You call in a favor. And
Meth just pops out of nowhere. He's like, got him.
Just walk out. Oh, well, you got to leave though now because
Yeah, otherwise we're
context over.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
But
Ronald has control of Occipitous, or you lost control?
I have full control of Occipitous.
Total ownership has been transferred.
So you have the cathedral and you want to do your stuff with it.
I'm gonna cut the energy in half. It's gonna be liquidated into a small subsection. Of realms.
Liquidated? What? Are you having a going out of sale? Like you're going out of business sale? What the fuck?
I make a bunch of subplanes.
He's gonna go to
donate to anonymously to me, so I instantly make my own gold. So it's essentially like money laundering, but on a planar level.
He's gonna go to what's his name's wife and say, so listen, basically I have a tax haven now.
The big thing to keep in mind, though, is that before he decides to release all the souls from Occipitous, he's going to be asking for a government bailout.
Yeah. Essentially. But Ronald no longer has an arm, but Nabikins followed up on his end of the deal and made everyone no longer stone.
I feel like he's going to get this. He said he's going to separate these into like partitions of planes. Does this just means that you're going to become someone's landlord. You're going to
gerrymandering.
You're going to become a fucking landlord.
They're gonna be rented out as small pocket dimensions for bags of holding, but only you have to charge me to use them. So, it's like
you haven't paid rent on your bag of holding. I'm afraid I'm going to have to take all your stuff
Oh my God.
and then bid it off. We're gonna go ahead and call it Planar Wars.
I'm gonna have a scrying orb follow me around the whole time, and it's just gonna be like storage orbs. I'm like, let's see what we got here in this plane today, and then just throw it up in just a random like a semblance of monsters and stuff.
And then you can convert your new realm to let you hastily ship packages as well. You can start sending them through portals.
Yeah, this
I'm all we got undead skeleton right here, still alive. Good 3 gold right there.
I can just picture them finding, Jacob's little pocket dimension from his bag of holding.
I don't like the way you said that.
Little pocket dimension.
Yeah, and they're just going to be like, what's with all the dead children?
It fucking weirds me out when you say that.
Yeah.
Jacob's little pocket dimension sounds like a fucking pet name for a butthole, dude. I don't like it. Weird me out. It's gonna tickle your little pocket dimension.
But yeah, there was a deal struck. We also managed to cure a good portion of the current tenants inside Jenya's
Definitely not
hospital.
tenants. Definitely not tenants. They do
Or
not reside
her
there.
patients. Sorry,
Yeah.
her patients. The ones that are currently in there, and found out that the food supply is damn near gone because they were making essentially like disgusting mud pies to eat for food.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Cort's at Jenya's taking a good old nap.
He's taking a nappy. Yeah, you're not wrong. He's taking a little bit of a nap.
He's tiny.
Him sleeping on the job.
But yeah, outside of that, we ended with
Everyone waking
us
up.
still in the hall, the Temple of Ouijas, and
Yes.
letting the group know that I made a deal with Nabatoran to get him back.
Oh yeah, and then Mistopheles wanted to go talk to Thelsa and decided to rip the essence of the demon that was in Thelsa away.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the last few episodes have been about exchanges of power. I'm not sure if you guys have gathered that or not, but it's been about understanding positions in the town. It's also been about exchanges of power, which has been relatively important because, well, you guys have been swelling with power for a while. And I still have notes based entirely off of some of the agreements that you've made, some of the challenges that have been before you, and a couple of what looks to be decorating my book at the moment is these sticky notes that dictate these clocks. You've got a few clocks that are going now, and some of them will tick by on their own. Others will not. If you happen to, for reasons, miss out on some of these clocks, negative effects still happen. Just like I was explaining last night in Mummy's Mask, the world doesn't stop because you choose to ignore it. It continues to shift and evolve forward. This is a free-flowing, open timeline, and the more you neglect, the more it becomes a problem, or it just wipes out entirely on its own.
That's why you quick save.
Quick save is not a feature in this game, unfortunately.
Let's reload it back. I want to try it again. I want to try attack him again. Reload it.
Listen, I've already said that if Chad buys me a house, we can do a new game plus. Where I put you guys back in Cauldron at your current levels from the start of the game.
Yeah, can I hit Control Z real quick?
Just
redo that fight.
You want to undo your character?
No, just that fight. Just real quick.
Nah, we just really want to roll it back to 150.
Yeah.
No, that would be... See, then you'd have so much time. Like, at this point, if you go back to 1, then clearly you're going to forget so much shit. You can't even remember what happens after a single episode. Can you imagine what happens after 100 episodes?
I can.
The only thing that you're going to remember is Nap the Tauren. That's it.
All I want to say is that for the new game plus, that's when we're gonna do our all bard run, where we all just buff ourselves up and smash people with our instruments.
Does that mean that rerolls are doing the quick reload? Oh man, that would be wild.
I guess the rerolls are the Control Z. Honestly.
Sort of in a way. It's at least a way to turn back one failed performance. So
we're going to go ahead and redo this last 6 seconds.
Yeah.
As always, guys, if you want to see our players have more of an opportunity to succeed, you can do that by offering up gift subs. Every time 5 new people sub or gift sub 5, we will see a tick over, and I'll show this on the overlay. Actually, you guys will see the luck die pop up. It looks something like that. When that pops up, that's how you know that the players have a luck reroll. If they don't, it's not there. they can gain a max of 5. If they don't have any, the no luck rerolls have been given. Thank you very much. That's 2 right there from Fish Food.
I literally just had a stupid moment right now. I was like, oh my god, they blink now? And I was like, wait, he's just toggling it on and off.
Jesus Christ. There's 5 more from Houndmaster. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that. That's that puts us pretty high up there, actually. Am I misreading that? I feel like I'm misreading it. See, we got Battle Extendency, Bush OPOP, Black Phoenix Inc., Nordic Warden, Outside, Flinks the Jinx, Unarmed Gamer, Rod Coil, Witch King, Gonresork, Dr. Mayo, Berry Delicious, Mr. Maddox, Wiz Wonder, and Judge Bread.
Come on, push the button.
You guys are all brand new subs, gift sub to the stream, so that means, as always, that's 3 luck rerolls. That means that I have 1, the players have 3. Every time that we get 10 come through, that means that I get access to 1. The players get a max of 5. I also get a max of 5. Does that count? No, it's a resub. Since you're following on a resub train, it won't tick over and show any change in the overall sub count.
You're not a resub. I lapsed for 2 days because it didn't want to tell me.
So sorry? Question mark. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you want from me here. I'm trying to get my fucking subs, Bob. Gotta get my luck rerolls. Additionally, you guys can also make some changes to the game through the theory of rep. Rep is a thing. As most of you guys know, you can check your reputation by typing an !REP. Rep is in-game currency that is given to you by watching streams, or whenever bit bosses are beaten, or whenever you sub to Patreon. You get more rep that way. So consider supporting on Patreon. Patreon keeps the stream alive, keeps the dream alive. And while it is a new month, and we have ticked over at least, at the current state, at least one Friday a month, we can still hit 2. We still have some time to hit our 2nd Friday a month, but it's up to you cats to make it happen. Odd question, chat. If Judge Dredd were a bread, what would he be?
Someone's looking through the table. They should donate something to Sniper to make his kneecaps less weird.
He would be rye. He would be rye, or sourdough.
I don't know, man. I mean, I keep thinking about it.
Straight hardtack.
Yeah.
No. Well, straight hardtack, maybe. I was thinking pumpernickel because it tends to be just one of those breads that is all business. But no, hardtack.
The way you said that, there was a lot of love in the way that you described pumpernickel. Right? This tends to be...
Dude, I fucking
business.
love pumpernickel.
All right, well, I mean, it's good, but I wouldn't... you know what? I'll leave that to you. You enjoy your pumpernickel. That's totally fine, my guy. Some kind of crunchy French bread? Yeah, I think he'd be fucking like a week-old sourdough baguette. You could club someone with it. Rangorf, what's up, bud? So, we start here. We started where we ended. At the temple. The Temple of Ouijas. The 3 of you had just sort of awoken. Some of you had begun to walk off. Ulhime, you remained. You were explaining to them that you had to make a deal. The deal was with the devil, and the devil is in the details. A figure by the name of
Mephistopheles.
He appeared. He exposed himself as a contract devil. He's told you that there is some trickiness that is always at work when dealing with the figure known as Naphtatoran. Yeah. In the meantime, he stepped away. From here, it's entirely up to you where you'd like to go. It's late enough in the evening. It's nighttime, fools. What you want to do with that is up to you entirely.
Well, the one thing I want to do is make sure Rahk gets back, because I believe you were limping, correct? Like you were having trouble moving still?
I mean, working out the stiffness, sure, but
Okay.
as far as injury, no, not really.
Okay. If Rahk's good, then I would look to Thelsa. Are you coming back with us?
You
No,
look at,
we're gonna stay here. No problem, Thelsa. Keep safe. No problem. Oh.
believe it or not, Thelsa's not Mickey Mouse, or Minnie in any regards. And interesting attempt. Interesting attempt. I like what you've done here, but no, sir, negative. You can stop it.
Where'd you get those gloves?
Well, I mean, if we're trying to go ahead and emote Elsa, Thelsa. Whoa.
Jesus Christ. There is a fucking continuous stroke going on tonight.
Nabby Phantom and Alpha.
I'm not having a stroke. I'm just special.
But I would ask her if she is staying or not, like in that regard.
Ask her Pitbull style.
And I can just imagine Thelsa looking at Ulhime and going, "Mind your own business. This is my church. Out."
She wouldn't stay. There's nothing she can do here. Short of casting Fly upon herself, there isn't really anything else that she can do in order to get around. There is no salvaging this place currently. In fact, she will likely condemn it for the meantime until she can find and contract people to be there to work. We can't lapse much in the way of time, or I guess we can. We can always do some backpedaling and some previously on to give her an opportunity to roleplay this, but it's too late to contract people. It's well past curfew, and everybody is gone. So, she's probably going to venture back to the bathhouse, find a place to curl up and relax, since despite her memory lapsing and it being just a few mere seconds, her body is still very stiff. She doesn't have full motor function of her fingertips, of her digits, and, well, most of her hands in general. Also, she feels very different considering that there is no longer an evil entity lurking inside of her body that she's harnessing as some sort of magical juju. So that's gone. So yeah, she's going to go back and take a nap.
All right. Then I will assist Jacob then. If he's on the floor trying to recover, then I would extend my hand out to help him up.
I'm just
Jacob was already
giggling
standing.
over the thought of Thelsa losing her Durahell battery.
God damn it. Yeah. That's good. That's good. I like what you've done here.
But no, taking Ulhime's help, Jacob will get to his feet and just kind of look Ulhime over. You're just paying attention to the missing arm and processing the news about Nab the Tauren making a deal with him, having some hold over Ulhime, and in the back of his mind dealing with all those jumbled memories of being led to a fire outside Cauldron. But it's just a little too much to process, so.
What's wrong, lad? You seem quiet.
I'm perplexed.
About
what could ever possess you to make a bargain with my father, knowing full well just who you're dealing with. This is a demon that was able to go ahead and trick the first flame.
True. But at the same time, I didn't have any other means to bring you back. And believe it or not, he, in his own twisted way, helped you and helped me.
He brought back a tool, Ulhime. And at some point, you have to ask if it's really worth our lives. I mean, I don't know if Rahk, if Cort, if Thelsa and I are worth the kinds of requests that would come from my father.
I'm curious, Ulhime, do you know what he means by tool?
Yeah, I'm assuming he's referring to himself.
Sure, but why does he view himself as a tool? Short of the fact that he's self-deprecating, naturally. Do you have any inclination or understanding that he was an infant up until recently?
Negative.
No, but it has been made clear that, he was...
That Daddy Nabby likes to fuck with his kid from time to time.
Yeah, he was brought around specifically, or at least to them, specifically to go to Occipitus.
To bring the Dawn Cataclysm.
Yeah, and, start his own death cult.
The fun
literally the cult for his own death.
Okay.
Good times. Simpler times.
I understand. I could say the big picture, or at least a simplified version of it, of what he wants from you, but I actually did have time to talk to him, Jacob, and oddly enough, at least within this current lifetime that he's living, these few hundred years or so, he's trying to be a father, and I can't hate him or fight him for that. And you're my friend, so it wouldn't make sense for me to. If I can bring you back, then I will, even if it's at the cost of my own well-being.
Well, I mean, if it's at the cost of your own well-being, that's one thing. I understand completely. But if the fate of the city could possibly hang into the balance, and the shoes, and the roles were reversed, I hope you understand that I would choose the many over the one.
I can't fault you for that, Jacob, but at the same time, I'm not you.
Understood. I don't see Cort. Is he well?
Doing great.
That term is relative, to say the least, but he's alive.
He's not currently made of stone, undead, or missing an arm.
No.
Then he's doing relatively well compared to the rest of us. I'm assuming that he's probably at the clinic with Jenya.
Yeah. Well, about that as well. We need to find a way to start bringing food in. If anything, I can give what money I have, a good portion of it, to start pulling in grain from other cities. If we can do that, might be able to make another set of undead horses to start pulling in carts to bring food to and from. Well, and he kind of looks back at his arm. Never mind, actually. I don't think I can do that anymore.
No more bones.
That would be problematic, true. But I think, even knowing that, we could probably speak with the mayor, see if we couldn't requisition a few horses and some citizens to maybe be sent to other parts of the city. With everything that has gone on with the church, I think it best that I go report this to Kiana, and then I believe I'm going to hit the rack. In the morning, we can see to Cort and speak with the mayor. Rahk, thoughts?
I plan to see the boy immediately.
Actually, you need to go see the mayor now that things have settled down a bit. And I do have questions for him as well that me and Thelsa needed to talk to him about.
Okay, are you going to wait for when Annie is actually around to speak with the mayor, or are you just going to pursue him regardless?
I mean, about the information that I found out, I wanted to talk to him about the Scalaring beneath the house. That's essentially what my intent was.
Okay,
and
all right.
To return his tapestry.
Okay. Seems good.
Here's your curtains. Sorry, they might smell like ass.
So that's my intent, if you're curious.
Sure.
I think we can go ahead and hold off on that until Annie's actually around, but...
It's sort of your call. Rahk, you said that you wanted to go see the boy. Are you going to go see Cort, or are you going to see Chobs?
Cort.
Okay.
Yeah, he can go ahead and see Richard anytime.
It's it's pretty late. It's pretty late. You can go to see Cort, but it was late even by the standards of Marion, and most of those dealing with curfew. So if you want to go there, that's totally fine. If you guys felt
The
like
last thing I remember was him like bleeding out. So I don't really care about the time.
Sure. That makes sense.
It's like, oh well, it's. I don't know. I'm gonna have to come back in the morning.
I want to make sure the boy's not dead.
Maybe get out by the tavern first, get a drink.
Is anybody else going with Rahk then?
I would escort him. I mean, if Jacob's gonna more or less head out, then
yeah. I mean, Jacob, much as he might want to go ahead and tag along, he does have a duty to at least report this to Kiana. Now, he is literally just going to go to Kiana and report as to the happenings of the Church of Ouija, so I don't think that's necessarily required to be played. But afterwards, he'd probably be at the bathhouse waiting for the rest.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. I'll follow Rahk for now.
Right. Then we will I'll give Sniper the scene first. You wanted to report to Lady Kiana.
Yay! I gotta remember names. Fuck.
You should really write this down. I mean, we've been playing for years now. You should just
Let's
have a
be
notebook.
quite honest. Even writing this shit down, I'd fuck it up.
That's impressive. When you have a page that says NPCs, that's impressive. So, we'll give it to you. We'll pass it over, friend. And it's yours. You find yourself moving in the destination of the guardhouse, seeking a Lady Kiana Green. It's tucked away just to the north end of Obsidian Avenue, guarded by crenellated walls. It is a training ground for what was once many guards, now very, very few. You are amidst those few. As late as you may expect it to be, you arrive, and you are not surprised to find that most of it has been shored up and has been closed. There are guards that circle the town, but it does not appear to be locked, bear in mind. Do you push in?
Well, certainly, and I'd be surprised to know that we have other guards. I thought it was down to just she and I.
It's like 5.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yes, you have 5 guards per the 3,000 people that are left in all of Cauldron. Needless to say, not everything is getting watched. So you did say you were going inside.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I would have no reason to malinger or anything like that.
Sure. You push on inside, and you find that most of it is, it's been left for the evening. It's been relatively abandoned, largely just due to it being so late. Give me perception.
Which, by the way, is my favorite test. If I can just remember to go ahead and find it on my character sheet. Jesus Christ.
It's right in the P's.
Yeah.
Not
26.
Bad.
Not bad.
Just as you think that you've kind of turned and there's nothing really left here, or at least that everybody may have gone, since things have been calm relatively recently. Since the flurry has been active, there's been a lot less bodies piling up. But as you turn to step away, you hear the pop and crackle of cherry from a fireplace. The captain's quarters is relatively close. The door is cracked ajar, but there seems to be no light coming from it, as far as you can tell.
Well, hearing that there's something coming from her office, he is going to look over his weapon, sigh a little, and head over towards her door.
Sure.
He'll linger by the framework, giving an extra listen to see if there's anything else noticeable before stepping in.
When you listen to at the crack of the door, you hear that there is some labored breathing. It doesn't sound like troublesome, but there is some labored breathing.
Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and push the door open enough to try and get a look inside.
When you push it up just enough to look inside, you actually do see Kiana. She has fallen asleep at the desk. A mountain of papers scattered around the room, and it looks like her hand is still sort of tilted on its backside, but she's still loosely gripping a quill, and an ink vial has been tipped and is dripping off of the desk.
Ah, okay. Not that kind of labored breathing. Gotcha. Well, seeing that she is on her own and feeling a pain, he will slip inside, just crack the door enough to get his body in before setting it to behind him, taking stock of the situation. And then I think he would probably see about collecting the papers and putting the inkwell back up.
Sure. You
just clean up as best he can and without trying to disturb her.
You meander around carefully, trying to not disturb her rest. You can't recall a time when she has really rested. Every time you've seen her, it's pretty much just been like go time. She's never chill. There's never an ounce of chill in her entire body. So she is constantly go, go, go. So finding her like this is definitely a surprise. And you manage to move some of the papers around, restack them up, collect the ink vial, at least what seems to be left of it. You dab up with some trash to sort of remove the standing puddle. And give me a stealth. I'm just curious. Give me a stealth. Very good. Very good. I needed it to be high, but not that high. As someone who's naturally incredibly alert, I set the DC at 20. In this case, she doesn't wake up. You'll see that she keeps her weapon just next to the fireplace, within arm's reach. When you remove the quill from her hand instinctively sort of like grips up as if it's trying to clutch onto it, but there's nothing there, and it slowly begins to release. You see her fingers unfurl, and you still hear that labored breathing. She's cocked up on the heels, basically the tilted lip of the chair itself, with her body as thrown over the desk as she possibly can without technically falling. She's kind of a mess. Hair is strung out in all directions. You can see that the ear that has been removed is exposed to the world, and it is a clear clutch gone. It looks as if it's been seared off, which mostly leaves this hole in the side of her head.
Yep. I mean, he would be aware of that. But, no, once he has the trash and the mess cleaned up, he'll probably see about setting on a pot for the boil.
Okay.
Ready up for some tea. He's definitely going to prolong as much as possible, but if it does push on to the point where he's able to actually functionally make a pot of tea, he'll probably see about giving her shoulder a grip to wake her up.
Sure. Give me a sleight of hand just to see how you handle things gingerly. So, gingerly is not really a descriptor of your natural nature. So I'm just seeing what you're capable of. Okay, yeah, you do it.
God damn, the bullshit rolls I need, I don't need to win.
You handle it with care. You place the pot just freestanding over the fire in its racks and rails. You're very careful about it. Clear to not wake her up. You freestand the pot above the flame. You sort of stuff a few logs in there, breathe down upon the coals before it starts to drum up fresh smoke. You put a few bits of twigs, or you tear some strips from the bark of the wood itself, and you just toss it in. before long.
Who knew? I wouldn't have much of a problem starting a fire.
Yeah, who'd have thought? But before too long, you'll hear the pop of the kettle itself. It seems to be tilting the lid. It's not hissing. There is no wine coming from it, but there is a sort of pop from the kettle.
Like bubbling water and all that. Yeah. You know, don't make me think that I accidentally blew up something important.
No.
But no, once it's...
I'm curious because there isn't any visible like standing tea leaves or anything like that. What do you brew? You just give her hot water?
Well, I would imagine that there would be some tea or coffee or something around the office. I'm just going off supposition.
It's completely like the reserves. Everything is gone. Everything is gone. They bring in fresh water just because they've been drinking fresh water. That's about it. Everything is vacated. Just the shelves are completely empty. There's no immediate prisoners. There's nothing. It's pretty much just freestanding with her, and she constantly gives orders to the guards.
Well,
I don't know why my camera just died there.
Yeah, I just went ahead and shit the bed a little bit there. But, you know, given that there's nothing available, hot water is better than nothing. So once the pot is on the boil, he'll slip it off. Slip it off the coals and, like I said, see about giving her shoulder a squeeze to wake her up.
Okay. Is it just described to me as if you were trying to wake me? I want to put myself in the vision of the character.
Oh, so you're slumped over your desk. You're, just kind of like out of it. Yeah, he'll basically just come up and from behind give a squeeze on your shoulder.
Okay. All right.
First a squeeze, then maybe a shake.
All right. You give a slight squeeze to her shoulder, and there is just this minor, like almost a nuanced nudge of her body. And then you do it again, and probably not what you were expecting in this moment, but the moment that you nudge her a second time, the moment that you squeeze the shoulder a second time, she bats your hand back, sits up, grabs onto your wrist, and she starts to draw a dagger from her belt before she sees you. And her eyes are just like wide, just absolutely like wide in terror. And you can see like where she was working, she has fresh ink. Like she was laying on fresh ink. So it says words across her face. And there's probably a bit of dribbled drool that's fallen from her lip. But she's very, very alert and quite scared in this moment. And you notice, like, even if for only briefly, her hand is shaking at her hip, clutching onto the dagger. Before her eyes focus again for a moment, she blinks several times, seeing that it's you.
Bad dreams again?
You've changed. What's happened to you now? Still never quite releasing your arm.
Well, I lost the mask.
So this is what you really look like then?
You would know this.
It looks somehow worse. As if it's gotten more intense. She slowly begins releasing the grip over your arm. Never quite removing that right hand from her belt. Did you sneak in here?
Well, the door was technically open, but yes, you were asleep, and if you're anything like myself, you've probably been running short on it. It's only been maybe 10, 15 minutes. But I took the liberty of boiling some water for tea, which, come to think of it, we don't have. Would you like a cup?
I would kill for coffee right now.
Get in line.
You remember that the prominent export of Cauldron is coffee. Their coffee fields are known Galarian wide. They're just out.
Well, the fields were kind of, burned. But, yeah, taking the time to pour out 2 cups of hot water, he'll take a seat across from her. Word has it I've been missing for a few days.
Yes. Oh, man. Yes. Was not expecting you when we didn't hear of the bodies piling up and there was no sign of you. We just assumed that, well, you turned tail and ran to another town, or you died. But that's not your style, because you just keep coming back. I tried to find you, and unfortunately I couldn't.
Well, if you'd looked in the Church of Ouijas, you'd have probably found what I was at the time.
Well, I was trying to find you, but it appears that my method of tracking you has been disabled. I'm guessing that you found the mark.
Mark.
Never mind then. She kind of tilts one brow and sort of like crosses a leg, leaning back in her chair, and starts to look at the very hot water in her cup.
We'll just pin that one for now. Leaning back, he'll just heave a sigh and, roll his cup between his palms. His mini palms.
What do you do with those? You seem to have so much more control of them now. Then you didn't.
Well, I apparently have no choice but to get used to it.
You just think it and it happens?
Well, what do you do to wiggle your big toe?
Well, Fair. I'm just curious.
It's an unusual situation. No, it's an unusual sensation. I'll give you that. It's not something I'm fond of, but as the mask is a lost cause, and I can't necessarily do my task running around the city invisible, I'm going to have to make do.
Well, you're no worse off than Ulhime. I'm sure Cauldron is prepared for a devil to walk the streets.
Well, Ulhime has been somewhat disarmed.
That's a rare occurrence, I found. What's brought this about?
We'll go ahead and do the short version starting from the beginning. I'm sure you're aware that there was a occurrence at the Church of Ouijas. Something like a bolt of lightning striking it.
A guard did say that, yes, but when we investigated, we saw nothing of the sort. There was no damage additionally to the outside of the building.
Apparently it has to do with the church itself and one of my group, Thelsa, who also happens to be...
The woman, yes.
Yeah, she happens to be a member and is soon to be the High Mother, I would imagine.
Yes, we were investigating her for a murder, but all angles didn't point to her as she was not immediately available at the time. And then, well, needless to say, things started to spiral very quickly and we had to drop the case.
Things have been hectic, yes. Suffice it to say, Ike Iverson was working against the purposes of the church, and in being confronted by Thelsa, apparently decided to sign a pact, I guess you could call it, with a elder wraith. Think really, really angry ghost.
Okay.
I'm
familiar with what a wraith is. I may be green behind the ears on some tasks, but I've seen my fair share of beasties.
Well, this one was basically walking death in the city. Luckily, it had a purpose to destroy Thelsa and managed to usurp the control of one of our peers, Rahk.
I never got a good feeling about Ike. He always... There was something off about him. You notice this at this point, Sniper, you would think that Jacob probably notices that she is very, very disarmed in this moment. She's not her normal self. Her candor is relaxed, and you're not really sure why this is like this or what has caused it, because normally she's rather aggressive, but she has some very open statements that she wouldn't naturally discuss with you.
I figure she's at that fuck it all stage. You know, at this point, Jacob really isn't thinking too much of it. After all, he's kind of weary himself. But hearing her own thoughts on Ike, he'd roll a shrug, and I was always ambivalent of him. The most I ever knew of his purposes was that he was at odds with Nap the Tauren. As far as I was concerned, he was, no threat, or not a threat of immediacy.
I'm starting to wonder if I will ever end up meeting this figure. I dread the moment.
The Tauren?
Yes.
Well, apparently that's a possibility. Getting back to the story, we managed to go ahead and find a way to dismiss this wraith. And in doing so, I've been set in stone for the last few days.
I don't believe that you mean that metaphorically at all. I take that as a very literal statement.
Yeah. Very literal. Like a statue.
Would that have anything to do with the guards dying at the mayor's office?
No, that's news to me. When did this occur?
What day is it? 2 days ago? A day and a half, 2 days ago.
No, I don't believe this is anything associated with that.
They froze. They froze in the street. Their bodies, like they were stuck in a harsh winter. Left outdoors, unprotected.
Ice.
Yes, when we removed them, one was dropped, and damned if I didn't see it for myself, the eyes shattered.
No, that's certainly news to me. It's not any association of ours. Just the guards. There were no other individuals or anything like that?
Someone reported a woman there, but we found no body of a woman there.
Any description of the woman?
No, they said it was brief. It was very fast. They'd walked out of the mayor's, that there was a small conversation, and when they turned, there was Rahk. Now, he was there. They said that there was a half-orc there with a large hammer. I didn't put it together then, but he was there. What was he doing there, and how would he be tied to their deaths?
Well, there is the potential that he did manage to exit the city for a time. Well, exit the Church of Ouijas for a time. For that, we'd have to go ahead and speak with Rahk directly and see if he is aware of what went on, or if perhaps is inadvertently responsible. I'm not sure of his awareness during his possession.
I will have time to think about it still. I don't know if it's late or if it's early. I don't know how long I've been sleeping.
It's fairly late in the evening. Most normal people would be taken to their beds. Would probably have taken to their bed an hour or so ago. But I felt it at least important to explain what's been going on at the Church of Ouijas where I've been, and that Ike Iverson is not going to be darkening our doorsteps anymore.
Well, I wish I could say good riddance, but it doesn't sound like it's ever going to be that easy.
I don't know if I'd ever say good riddance. In speaking with Lady Jenya, she did point out an important loss.
Yes,
at least when it comes to the faith of the city.
The faith of the city? I've only recently heard of this sickness. What else has occurred?
Well, the two major churches in the city,
yes.
3 actually, are now basically either rubble or leaderless.
We still have not been able to find Ronlert, and we are aware that Pelor's is down for the time being, and that St. Cuthbert's has unfortunately fallen. We've investigated and understand that it has been at least intentional, an arson of some degree, but that's as far as we have come through our middling.
Well, if I had to assume anybody is responsible for it, I would say Nab the Torn himself.
God damn it.
He seems to get around, my father.
And this guy's your dad?
You can't see the resemblance?
No, I've not seen him.
He's a Glabrithu.
Okay, I don't know what that is. I know some things, but I don't know what that is.
Big demon, claws, click, click, click.
Oh, so what is he? Is he just choosing you as his desired, his progeny? What? I don't understand.
No, I think it's just me hitting second puberty or something like that. It was never explained to me, and I didn't have much of an opportunity to research it. More important things have been afoot. As far as where things stand now, though, I do believe that Rahk, Ulhime, and I are probably going to be investing in possibly purchasing goods for the city. It's starting to become apparent that our request for aid has been ignored. Furthermore, we may have to speak with Jenya further about this disease that seems to be racking the city. From what Ulhime's been telling me, they've taken to eating dirt.
Let's just toss that on the pile. It's just become that bad.
True, but that's at least one problem that we can fix with some immediacy. I have some coins set aside, as do the others, and we can certainly speak with the mayor at some point about what he may be able to contribute, be it just grain carts or manpower or horses. But I felt it necessary to bring you up to speed as to everything that's been going on.
I know that you'd gone to Sassarine and Red Gorge. Were you? You said that there were others. The archers, right? In the forest that you'd met.
Yes.
Were you expecting them as well?
I had begged for their aid, at least in the form of manpower, something to go ahead and fortify our small contingent. Some, after all, people do need to feel a little more secure. Red Gorge, I went ahead and requested for smiths, stuck cutters, carpenters, and any other aid they could provide. And Sassarine, I went ahead and requested foodstuffs, since as a port city they have better access. It's less likely to go ahead and
Sniper, if you can kick over to me, even in the Discord, please, what you felt at this point that you have expressed that you need, and what you think that they're going to be sending, if they send anything at all.
Sure, I'll go ahead and take that over in the Discord in just a minute.
Please do.
He's all, you just put 0.
We asked for nothing. We get nothing. This is a solid trade.
I expect nothing, and I'm still disappointed.
Every time.
Every time.
That's Christmas.
But as to that, we'll see. In the meantime, it's certainly not going to hurt us sending out for a little more assistant collections, what have you.
Then I could only hope that they arrive. And she finally takes a swig of the water. There's this like light hiss, and she takes a sip and then continues to sort of swirl it around and blow to the top of the water.
Well,
It's just
there
not
is
the
the
same with
possibility that we might be able to get something of a little bit more immediacy through Thelsa. After all, if she is now the leader of the Church of Ouijas in the city, she may have better ties in Sassarine than myself. But we'll see.
Well, I understand the motivations of men, and I know creatures. I've got to be honest, I don't know the slightest about the gods. What purpose does Ouijas have in this place? I thought Ouijas was supposed to have been a neutral to maybe I'm misremembering, but an evil god. Now, I understand that there are laws to set that aside so that anyone may be able to pray at any location, but I just don't understand.
Well, not being a man of religion or faith, I could at least assume that the gods want people to live long enough to worship. One would assume, at least.
Well, then hopefully they continue to bless the city. If they continue to bless it, or maybe, and she sets down the cup, maybe not. Maybe this city has been fucking blessed enough. That's why we're going through this, is because of the gods' blessings.
No, I'm fairly certain what we're going through is the result of bumbling idiots and powers greater than ourselves, certainly, but I don't think we're necessarily being targeted by the gods. At least not the city in general.
Well, whatever the case may be, there's nothing here that's going to keep me awake much longer. I feel that I need to retire.
Agreed. I plan to go to the bathhouse, see about planning for tomorrow, and then I'm probably going to hit the rack as well. At that point, he's going to grip his staff and ease himself up. Is there anything I can do for you before I leave?
She stretches out again. No. No, I don't think so. At least not tonight. Come again then tomorrow or the next day, and I'm sure there'll be something. She looks around. I could have swore I knocked all these papers off onto the ground.
You did. I picked them up.
I suppose some thank you is in order.
No,
but I'm not
thanks.
going to thank you because they're not in order. Now go on. And she's sort of like with a wry grin. She's like, "Go on." She tells you to get out.
Using the staff to tip off a minor salute, he'll turn and leave her office and start making his way to this, to the bathhouse.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to run across the room, grab something, and I'll be right back. Then we'll hand it right over to Rahk and Ulhime.
Ulhime, chef.
Rock and rolla.
If you guys haven't done so already, keep the stream alive, keep the dream alive. Go ahead and hit that Patreon link. Look at all the different tiers, all the goodies you get each month, boost and rep. And if Bubbernaut hits his goal, you guys get to do the 12-hour Patreon stream where you guys choose the games and play along with the Bubbernaut every day at 8, 7 Central here on the CW.
The CW, that's the best we could do right there.
Yeah, that's all I got. Oh, hold on. Only on UPN.
Tonight on TNT. Dun, dun, dun.
We,
I don't want the Xander Zone.
welcome to the Xander Zone. Yep. Oh, she's coming.
I don't need to hear your hot esports picks.
Oh, good lord. All right. All right, we're back. Okay. So.
Had to get more of those handsome sticky notes?
No. I had to pee. A lot. I've been drinking a fair amount of water and, well, it caught up to me.
God damn it, Wit. No, we don't need anything extra against me. Can we build a Torment Sniper bonus package as an add-on?
It's not TMI, Rabbit. It's not TMI. You'll be fine. You'll be fine, old man. You got it.
Everybody pees.
Everybody pees, that's right. It's not that weird. Xander, Will, you want to make your way across town to the Wee Apothecary, where Cort lies bloated on a table. Xander, you've already used your Hero's Feast. When you arrive, you'll find that it is vacated. While the table still remains, it is vacated. Everything was consumed. Down to the last grape is just all gone. And Jenya mostly remains alone. She's sort of tidying up the place, based entirely off of what was left, which wasn't much, bear in mind, but some was left. There's still some things to take care of. And that gets passed over to the three of you there. Well, technically the two of you. Not sure why. Let me restart my roll 20. Shit's broken.
No problem.
Nothing wants to work. Damn COVID's keeping all the nerds at home, making everybody use roll 20.
Little did you know Roll20 is what's actually using up the most bandwidth now that all the nerds are staying at home.
I will say this much. I'm surprised. I'm starting to really see it in all of my social media and everything. A lot more people are playing fucking D&D.
Yeah.
I just recruited a random person into my Final Fantasy group, and he actually has to leave our raid nights early because he has to play D&D. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a resurgence of tabletops coming out over the last couple of years. But boy, oh boy, now that everyone's stuck indoors, shit's popping off.
Yep. So, the two of you arrive, and Jenya does not exactly give you an increasingly warm welcome. Rahk, you experience that she is exhausted. Absolutely just fettered to her own work, and she seems rather downtrodden. She remains, at least as far as you can tell, not immediately ill, but she may end up getting something. Her hands are raw from dealing with alchemical elements, from reagents. She seems weaker somehow. But she nods to each of you coming in, as she's just seen Ulhime. She goes back to what she was doing.
Ulhime will point to the door to where he found Cort, and then he'll let kind of Rahk take the lead. But he looks over to Jenya. Were you able to get anything for yourself?
Say that again, please.
Were you able to get anything for yourself?
And she looks up at you and she's just no. The people are
I'll be
hungry.
coming back tomorrow morning for the same thing.
The people are hungry, and who am I to deny them? I am a servant to this town. One of the last that few remain.
You need it just as much as they do.
She gives you a half shrug and goes about the rest of her business. She seems to be tallying off various vials that are empty, creating a reagents list that seems to be vacated or empty or completely used, that sort of thing. You didn't
Rahk,
come to talk to me. Go on.
No, but glad to see that's a little empty, at least for now.
There's a silver lining in everything.
Gives her a bow, and he kind of pushes Rahk into the next room. Let's go.
And in the next room, you'll find that there is a single sconce lit in the room where Cort is mostly undressed. He appears to have his body tilted. There are rags that are up supporting him so that this vast wound that comes across his body, if it needs to exfoliate, we'll say that, for any reason, or happen to burst, that it can do so in this destination. It can fall away from the body, which you can see that there is to some degree, there is a there is some small, what looks to be like ventings, and you can see that there's bits of blood that seems to have dried running down the stomach. Cort's in a bad way. He's in a real bad way. If he said that you guys have been down for 2 days, Cort has been like this for 2 days. But there he lies.
Did you mention whether or not he appeared to be at all conscious?
Nope, he is very unconscious.
Okay.
This is how I found him. Without Jenya's help, don't think he would have made it.
This stitch work, how did this happen?
I don't know. From the looks of it, this isn't any normal stitching I've seen before. At least nothing that she could do, nor myself, not with the magic that I have.
It's strange to me as well. Seems we have an unknown benefactor.
Well, if they have to show themselves, we should thank them.
Nothing stays hidden around here for too long, it seems.
True. Both good and bad, it seems.
I'm sure whoever it is will rear their head before too much longer. You think he'll recover?
In time, but how much I don't know. And this is assuming that there's no psychological damage. We don't know what he experienced before this.
Add it on the pile, I suppose.
Seems to be the case for many things so far.
Well, it may not do any good to sit here by his side and wait, but does seem that there is help needed around this moratorium. I don't know of a better word for it.
Yes. I'll be coming back here tomorrow morning, and from there I'll be leaving to, I don't know if you've been told about it, but Occipitus. I might be able to take Cort with me there. I might be able to do something for him.
That may be for the best. I think I'll stay here for the night, and when you come in the morning, I'll just take you as my relief.
Understood. I'll be off to the mayor's then. I got to give him back. And he kind of haunches the backpack over. Got to give him back his tapestry and probably some gold.
What exactly did you do while we were stoned?
Unfortunately, I couldn't do much. Nablatorn's the one that brought you back.
Understood. Ulhime, do you know what they say about the road to hell?
Good intentions, yeah.
Be careful, friend.
It's odd when I think about it. I had to give up my right arm and a favor, an unknown favor to him. But it seems unusual that every time I've lost this arm, I seem to be more in control of myself, or at least my situations. I don't really understand the correlation, but it's one of those funny things, not necessarily haha funny, but funny nonetheless.
I can't say I'm laughing, but I get your meaning.
Well, outside of this, do you need anything from me in particular?
If you would, when you see him, tell Chobs that I'm okay and where I am. If you don't, then I'll find him tomorrow morning.
I'll be heading back to the bathhouse after I'm done with the mayor, so I'll let him know where you're at.
Good. Thank you.
Anytime. Take care and keep him safe.
You as well.
Puts out his left hand to extend a handshake.
Full-on forearm grip.
Nice. Ulhime will begin making his way to the mayor.
Nice.
Okay, you know that the mayor is asleep. Remember, just because you are
Don't
undead,
care kicking his door.
just because you are undead and you don't sleep doesn't mean that he doesn't.
Oh, it's already super late.
It was, dude, you came out of the shield and the whole house was asleep. It was late.
That's right. My bad. Then I would probably make my way just to the bathhouse then, so that way I can checking on Chops.
Okay, sounds good. Not a problem. But you also know that... Wait a minute. You told him to go somewhere.
Oh, that's right. I'll turn around and let him know. I'm sorry, I completely forgot. Chobs and Myron are both at the tankard. I told him to go there after I had, I guess came back, resurrected, regurgitated. I don't know what I call it yet, but when I came back, I didn't want them at the bathhouse, so they're at the tankard for the night. Well, for the next 2 nights. So they'll have warm beds and food there to settle themselves.
Understood. I'll go and see them in the morning.
Very well. I'll make my way back to the bathhouse then, just to make sure everything's okay.
Can't tell.
Take care of Rahk.
This one doesn't have the verified.
And
thing on it.
he'll make his
Safe
way.
travels.
He'll make his way to the bathhouse to meet up with the rest of the group.
What about you, Rahk? Where are you going? Are you staying here?
Yeah, my plan is to stay in the Wee Apothecary and just help out Jenya in whatever way I can.
Okay. All right, then back to the bathhouse. You're staying here to help. He's unconscious. She's gone back to the bathhouse. What about you, Sniper? Are you going back to the bathhouse to sleep as well?
Yeah, I plan to go back to the bathhouse and recuperate a little bit, but I'm probably not going to sleep yet. There's something else I want to look into.
Okay.
I would probably be cleaning that whole night since I don't sleep for the most part.
Yeah, I'd love to go ahead and watch you use a broom and dustpan right now.
I'm pretty sure he could just animate the dustpan. Go
Yeah.
full Fantasia.
Why you gotta take this from me?
Sorry, I take it back.
And if anything, it's just moving like the larger rubble, using a broom with one hand to kind of get the dirt out, stuff like that.
Yeah, I do know one thing that Jacob's going to want to do before too much longer is he's going to want to decipher just what the fuck is written on his staff.
Sure, so you want to do that tonight then?
Well, that's what he would be doing tonight after getting back to the bathhouse, unless he's interrupted and they have deep conversations about what's going on in Cauldron. It's high on his to-do list. It's a priority.
All right. Then we'll say that you manage to arrive at roughly the same time that we'll find that Ulhime is arriving. In fact, you probably meet each other in the street.
Jakob, and he'll call out to him.
Ulhime, how's Cort doing?
Still unconscious. Still looks pretty worse for wear. If anything, I might be taking him with me tomorrow to Occipitus.
Is that necessarily wise?
I don't know.
As I recall, people of your particular disposition tend not to fare well in Occipitus.
They will when I convert it over. I might be able to use some of the energy to quicken his healing if possible.
I somewhat worry about that, but time does flow differently there. A few days on the mend might do him well.
That's what I'm hoping.
Truth be told, I think it would do us all a little bit of good. Speaking of, is Rahk going to be joining us tonight, or is he staying elsewhere?
He's going to be staying at the apothecary with Jenya and Cort. And Myron and Marion and Shops are going to be at the tankard for the night. For the next 2 nights.
Well, the old man and the boy could certainly use some time away from us.
True.
And that
Which brings up... Well, it does bring up something that I heard from Kiana tonight. When this thing was going on with Ike Iverson and the Wraith, was that 2 days ago or longer? To your recollection. Or
that I'm not sure. Maybe 2 days. I believe that's how long I've been out.
I worry that Rahk may have been responsible for a few deaths then. some guards at the estate of the mayor. 2 guards were found dead, frozen. And in being moved, their eyes actually crumbled. I'm just thinking to myself, perhaps the Wraith was responsible for that. I do recall that being in its very presence was a little unnerving.
I can't say, but I mean, we already know Rahk was possessed to begin with. So it's not like he had any intentions of killing those people.
True, but we also don't know how much he witnessed while in the throes of the Wraith. I'm just voicing it as a possible concern. If he was aware of what was going on, he may be feeling a little bit of guilt. And being as I have a little bit of experience in that, he'd probably like a good ear, a kind ear. Something
True enough.
Something to go ahead and speak with him about.
True, but I don't think doing that immediately after having you guys come back is also the best time to do that. It'd feel kind of like we're just pressuring him to confess something that we think that might be a wrongdoing, or at least we have it perceived as that.
Ulhime, I'm not planning to talk to him at all in regards to that. Not unless he comes to me. Let's be quite honest. When it comes to emotional offloading, you're probably the most qualified to hear people out.
I mean, thank you, but I think any of us are capable of doing that. It's just taking the time to listen to what they have to say. I don't always have all the answers.
Oh, nice.
Sometimes people just need someone to hear what you're thinking. I do that with you a lot.
Yeah, but isn't there the whole, communing with God and so forth?
I haven't heard Helm in a while. And I know his powers are still with me, but other than Jimothy keeping his domain protected to some extent, I don't have any other connection to him.
Well, being that we have a lack of religious figures we could turn to, you might go ahead and, once everything is all said and done, maybe talk to Jenya as to what gods are supposed to be doing. Maybe get a little more background as to what Helm necessarily would do in these sorts of situations.
No one remembers him. Just me.
Good.
The only reason any of you do is because I brought him up, and from what you guys have told me, he was around to talk to you for a bit in a dream, but I
True, he did make an impact.
No one else.
Yep.
Well, regardless, something to go ahead and add to the pile, as they say. We may need to go ahead and speak with Thelsa, though. I've ideas as in regards to what's going on in Cauldron, and hearing the news of what Thelsa's dealing with and having seen the people. Something needs to be done with some immediacy.
True.
Mm.
Seeing as food is the biggest thing that we need to focus on, as well as the disease, we could try reaching out to the wardens. From there, we can try probably reaching out back to Sassurin, since it's a port city.
Well, I do know that when all of this initially started, the day after the attacks by the vampire children, that was... Good Lord, how long has it been? It's only been a few weeks, hasn't it?
Gives him a nod.
Feels like forever ago. But no, I do know that in the wake of all that, I did go to the Citadel. I did go to Red Gorge. I did go to Sassurin. I pled our case. But I feel that at this point, we need to go further and actually see about investing.
They're doing okay,
True.
right?
Asking for help is a good gesture, but in the grand scheme of things, politics works with gold, not necessarily words alone.
Mm. Well, I do have some platinum set aside.
If you need some from me, let me know.
Well, I think I'm going to let you initially handle all of the paperwork. After all, rumor has it my signature doesn't really need to go on anything. Nothing important.
I am
And he'll just
sorry
kind of
about that.
stink eye. No.
Though, I mean, in all honesty, would you have really told me no?
No, but I would have at least contemplated it, let you sweat a little bit.
Right?
All is forgiven, Ulhime. I'm just going to milk it for everything I can and give you shit for it.
He punches him in the arm. You're stubborn ass sometimes.
Which arm?
Probably the top like claw arms. I'm assuming those are the ones that have the claws.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I would, like punch the top of it.
Yeah, you punch my big arm. My strong hand.
Yeah, you do. You do just that.
Fuck you guys, that was funny.
Ulhime, like looking at his hand, he looks down at the symbol of Helm, and then he kind of just like, you see him like deep in thought for about a couple of seconds, and then he tries to channel positive energy into himself to see if he gets that stinging sensation that he had been getting from before.
You do. You channel the positive energy into yourself, but it has the effect that you're aware of, right? You know that it does come at a cost in order to do that. It costs your life, but you're not going to get any bite back. There's no burn.
That's the Lich touch. The channel positive energy is my cleric class.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, that you're not gonna have any negativity affect you anymore. There's not gonna be a burn or any kind of bite back from the channel.
Have you given any thought to what you're going to do about that?
Honestly, I'm not sure. It's like I told Rahk, it feels like every time I seem to lose one of my arms, things seem to be a little more in my control. Might just keep it like this for a while to see how things play out.
You know, when I lost my leg, I'd given some thought to prosthetics. Possibly even magically imbued. Rumor has it there, you know, when I was asking around, rumor has it there's a rather talented tinkerer in town. Granted, this was, well, before everything.
I'm not concerned about the make of the arm. I can probably do that on my own. Well, no, probably not so much now. So, I mean, it might be helpful to go with. We can look into it when we have time.
Something to think of when we have time. In the meantime, though, no, I was thinking that we might have to co-op Thelsa, have her maybe do her tree running to Sasserine, since she seems to go back and forth there quite often anyway. Perhaps in one of her visits to the Church of Ouijas and speaking with the elders there, she might be able to pick up a few crates of, you know, mackerel or something like that. Something at the very least that can be boiled, turned into a stock, and shared out through Jenya's. Has Jenya given any other indicators as to what might be the source of all this? I didn't have the chance to actually sit down and talk with her in regards to where
he kind of just like
from.
Does like a wide sweep of like the destroyed city. And fortunately, in this case, it's nothing supernatural. It's just the state of things.
Hmm. Well, I suppose we'll see. In the meantime, and at this point, he'll kind of spin his scythe staff alongside him and
You notice now.
shoot,
it's
shoot
something
the
that
rod out in
You've not
front of his face.
You've not really had much in the way of a gander over it. I mean, you removed it and you just had a quick glance over, but you were still sort of enamored with the way that the text was going down this. But it's now that as you sort of like jet it out in front of you and kind of use it to continue to walk as you peer up, you notice that it is partially broken, actually. The top half of the scythe, the point on it, forms. It looks as if probably right around like 9 inches of it was removed. Likely when it was going through the marble, something happened and the blade portion itself seemed to almost turn up and look, it now functions more like a butcher's knife. It's no longer pointed.
Well, I mean, it was actually twin-pronged, but yeah, kind of noticing that. Fuck.
Still functional.
Well, maybe so, but oh, the thing is alive, you know.
Yes, I remember
Oh.
Klaus had some control over it, but it didn't look like this before. And I can't tell what the writing is, but if I had
Oh, it's
time-
infernal.
Ah.
As soon as we get inside and maybe get something to drink, I plan to start looking at it and deciphering, but now I'm worried it's just going to say, ouch, fuck you, how dare you, you broke me, and various other epithets.
Wouldn't be the first time.
But I don't need the soul of an angel to be yelling at me.
Could always ask for forgiveness.
I'm sorry, Killy Stick.
Remember that thing we talked about being an asshole? He kind of just points to you. He's like, that right there. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, it's not like I can, it's not like I necessarily know its name or anything.
Just to
It's
buy a lot of
Alakaz.
things that are $20.
I'm sorry, Alakaz. Pat, pat, pat. We'll see about getting you fixed right up.
Like $20.
I wonder if Rahk left his hammer around.
You're not going to smash it. With,
No? Like,
It's
go to
weapon.
the WoW shop.
There's tools that
No,
we can
no.
and
use.
it'll
No, I'm talking about going back to the Church of Ouijas, opening that crack a little bit and getting whatever I left behind.
Oh,
We can do that in the morning.
we'll talk
And at
about
that-
it.
No, we'll just do it. The floor's already cracked. We're just making it slightly larger.
We're not
Oh,
damaging the
that's a
church
rep-
more than we
yeah.
already have.
Or not, maybe. We did just go ahead and, kill the leader of the church. I doubt that Ouijas is going to hold much more against us. And truthfully, it pales in comparison to what Rahk did.
Talk it over with Thelsa before you make any decisions.
50%
And he
extra.
kind of continues to walk on.
Yeah, I'm assuming at this point they've probably made it to the bathhouse and have gotten inside.
Yeah, likely. Yes, you guys have probably been standing there for a few minutes now.
Yeah. Well, stepping inside, he'll see about setting Alakaz on the table and going about maybe making a little bit of gruel from one of their field rations or, banking up a fire.
Okay.
Something to take off the edge of the gnaw before he has a chance to sit down and actually start reading over these runes.
Sure. You go to the reserves that you have, and admittedly, there's not enough. You guys haven't really done much in the way of stocking this place, at least in regards to food for a while, but Then again, it was at one point a bathhouse. It wasn't designed to be a cafeteria hall. It still is technically a bathhouse. It's not been changed to fit the guildhouse meter that you so desire.
I'm not even sure at this point we could call it a bathhouse. It's basically a freestanding structure with most of a roof.